Coming up next, the award-winning Below the Line with George Peroulas, 2013 winner of the AVA Award for Excellence in TV Production Editing.
Hi, I'm George Peroulas on location at Central Piedmont Community College for the 7th annual Digital Film People event. Tune in to find out the future of film in North Carolina, and we catch up with some old friends. It all starts now on Below the Line on location.
It's Below the Line with George Peroulas. On tonight's show,
Welcome to Below the Line. We're here at the Halton Theater on the main campus of Central Piedmont Community College for the 7th annual Digital Film People event. Joining me now is the man everyone's talking about here in Charlotte is Bert Hesse, a man who's worked with so many companies, multi-million-dollar companies in business and in film, and now you have a group of people trying to get a film studio here in Charlotte, and that is the former Eastland Mall property in East Charlotte. Right. Tell us what's going on and what you guys want to do.
I'm leading a group of local and national people, a board of directors, and an investment group that is determined to build what will be one of the largest studio complexes in the United States here in Charlotte, North Carolina. The group is made up of some very distinguished entertainment people and some business people. Currently, there are several locations we're looking at. The Eastland property is just one of them. There are a lot of other hurdles we would have to overcome with the City Council to actually construct our plan on that property, but we want to go through that process. We are going through the RFP process right now with the city. We have 2 other locations in Mecklenburg County that we're looking at also that are owned by private individuals. That would make the project move maybe a little faster, but it would not have the same economic impact it would have on an area town that really needs that kind of activity. This would literally change the east side of Charlotte in 10 years from now, because of the economic activity of the 40 acres of sound stages, the retail component, the educational component, and then the widening out of all the economic touch points on that. It would literally change the east side of town.
What sort of time frame is needed for all this to happen?
Our goal is to break ground either on the Eastland property or on these other 2 privately owned properties by the fall or worst case winter of this year. Construction of first 1 or 2 sound stages to be operational by December 14.
And what sort of projects and films do you guys hope to bring to Charlotte?
Right now, Charlotte is very attractive for the TV series. We do have some hurdles to overcome for the feature films. The cap has some weaknesses above the line where George's does not. But TV series can be a lot more lucrative for an area because if they're a success, they stay there for a longer period of time than a feature film production. Hunger Games was here basically 6 months. One Tree Hill was in Wilmington for 8 years. So from a purely economic standpoint, I will take the successful TV series over a film any day. So we'll be focusing still and trying to attract the major TV series productions here.
And what about post-production facilities and animation and sound editing? Is all that included as part of your plan?
It has to be. We're just not constructing vacant buildings to lease out. I mean, they can get that from warehouses around Charlotte. What we'll be offering them is a turnkey solution for post, animation, special effects, everything that not only a major motion picture would need, but also now TV series are also needing those types of services also. So we want to get them here for the weather and keep them here because of the facility.
What about independent films and financing these films? We know money's been tight the past few years. How has this project and how will this studio help smaller projects get made?
One of the things we do not want to do is just build a facility where people can rent it. no matter if it's sound stages, post-production equipment, or whatever, and leave. We want to take some ownership in that content. When you have ownership in the content, you have potential long-term revenue. So the studio will actually become a financier and a co-producer and a co-distributor of independent films. We want to not only have the next Blair Witch Project made on our studio lot or the next Paranormal Activity made on our lot, but we want to own some of those residuals. And the only way you can do that is become a co-financier with those independent filmmakers. So we want to have some skin in the game with them, because that's where a lot of revenue can take place after production is over with.
And the money, of course, stays in Charlotte and in North Carolina, and it keeps fueling the industry and teaching and all of that, correct?
Correct. Our goal, like my son, who moved from Charlotte 15 years ago to go to Los Angeles as a composer. He's been out there for 15 years now and has talked to numerous creative people out there that said if this facility was in Charlotte, working in Charlotte, they have no problem leaving the Los Angeles area to work outside of Los Angeles. The problem is that that's where the jobs are at. So as soon as we have an ability to create jobs here for those types of individuals, they will move here. But the work's got to be more than just sporadic. It can't be for 6 months. It has to be ongoing, and that's what a studio provides, ongoing employment, just not temporary employment for a shoot.
Folks, you heard it here on Below the Line. Bert Hesse, thank you so much, and we wish you all the best in bringing the major studio players and becoming one of them here in Charlotte. Below the Line continues right after this. Stay with us.
Nice. Yes, go! Yes! No! Come on! Oops. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy.
Works every time.
Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
The pain will not control us. It will never break us, define us, or keep us still. Because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? Visit the Arthritis Foundation at fightarthritispain.org.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of the child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. I'm Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism.
Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
And joining me now from Raleigh, the director of the North Carolina Film Office is Syrett. Welcome to Charlotte. Thank you for being here today. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. It's great.
And you've been busy the past couple of years now that the film incentives in the state of North Carolina have increased. Tons of productions, huge productions. What's going on in the future? What can we expect?
Sure. We started it about 6 years ago, and now this past 2 years we've really seen the fruits of our labor. This past year we did $376 million in production directly spent in North Carolina, all over North Carolina. That's up from 242 in 2011, and I believe around 80 in 2010, so we've seen our increase. Things that have been going on, obviously here in Charlotte, we've had Homeland, we have Banshee, we just wrapped Sleepy Hollow, pilot for Fox. We have a feature starting called Careful What You Wish For, and there's other things looking right now, so it's great.
And what has the process been to get the films to come here in North Carolina?
Well, it's really relationship building, right? We've had these relationships for a long time. Prior to coming here, I was the film commissioner in Utah, so I had those relationships. I've been the film commissioner for about 14 years, 15 years now. So it's about sustaining those relationships. I can't tell you when we landed Homeland. Was it when we brought them here to scout? Was it 4 years ago when we sat down with them for lunch? You know, it's an ongoing process, and we keep those relationships going on a daily basis. We're in LA all the time, taking meetings, reading scripts, sending creative location packages. So there's a whole bunch of things that go into it.
And what has happened so far in 2013 with your office, and what can we expect throughout this year and into 2014 and beyond?
Sure. I think already in 2013, we already have committed to, in North Carolina right now, first quarter, $183 million. So if you track that per quarter, if we keep doing that kind of business, we're going to do really well. We have Under the Dome, the Stephen King thing shooting, New Line Cinema shooting a show called Tammy with Melissa McCarthy, and some other stuff that I can't announce right now, but it'll be exciting. Homeland will be back. Banshee started shooting this week.
And how far in advance do production companies plan to come film in a state? Are you looking for projects for 2014 yet?
Certainly. We're probably looking at projects into 2015, but we're still looking at projects for 2013. It depends on where they are in development, right? So I've been working on one project probably for about 4 years. We could land anytime, or it could land in a couple of years. So it's a process. It's about, you know, filling our pipeline, where our pipeline's going to be, and getting them in here when they need to be, and to make sure we stay at capacity so people are constantly working all the time, over and over and over. That's our main goal, is keeping these jobs here.
And the film incentives do have an expiration date in 2015.
Sure.
There is a new governor in North Carolina. What do we know is the latest on the film incentives beyond 2014, beyond 2015?
Well, it's set to sunset January 1, 2015. We've always been successful in the past in extending that. It's going through the legislative process right now, so I can't comment on anything because nothing's really happening right now. Governor's aware of it, Secretary of Commerce is aware of it, the legislature's aware of it, and they all know what's going on. I can't speak for them, but we remain cautiously optimistic that it'll continue to be around.
And we hope so too, to bring more film in Charlotte and in North Carolina. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Director Syrett. We're at the 7th Annual Digital Film People event here in Charlotte, and with me all the way from Hollywood, California, now living in North Carolina, is the one, the only Bob Richardson, famous for all sorts of animation projects that we all love. How are you, Bob?
Good.
So tell me about the animation projects you started off with in Hollywood. You've won 5 Emmy Awards. You've worked with Jim Henson Productions. Tell me about what you've done and why you love animation.
Well, I think when I was about 5 years old, I saw my first Disney feature and thought, oh, that's something I need to do. I didn't really think I could do it, but as it turned out, I did. When I was around 10, I lived in Burbank, where the Walt Disney Studios are, and I went to the gate and asked the guard if I could get a job there. He said, go to art school and come back. And I did. I went to art school, came back, got a job at Disney, and the rest is kind of history as far as that's concerned. Many of the projects I worked on Jungle Book at Disney. I was there when Walt was still alive. Actually, he died while I was there. I went and worked then with a man named Friz Freeling, who was a producer-director at Warner's, did all those Warner shorts that we love. And he had a studio with David DePatie. I worked with them for 13 years or so doing Pink Panther, a lot of animated shorts for the theater. The last ones that were being made actually at that time. Went on to work with Marvel, doing Spider-Man and various characters like that, and just many more. I mean, also commercial work. Did a couple of features in 2006 for Marvel Ultimate Avengers. and so on.
So all these years doing animation the traditional way, computers have been huge over the past few years. How have you seen the industry change and the business model change for the line of work that you do?
Well, for example, in traditional animation, we used to shoot it with film cameras. And you had to literally paint everything on cells, put it over a background, light it, and then keep the dust off of it while you shot it with a real film camera. And for shots like Disney would do, those big long shots that they would do, the exposures on that were sometimes 7 minutes long. They had to have an airtight room to do those shots because otherwise the dust settling over 7 minutes would show up. When computers were developed, now everything goes into the computer. We still draw by hand, feed it, scan it in, it's painted in the computer, shot in the computer. You don't have any of those film problems anymore. So that's changed dramatically. Then they developed CGI, where now you're building models in the computer, shooting them, doing some motion capture work with some of that, which is actors who have different devices on them which are shot, and then that's fed into the computer to give realistic action and so on. It's changed a lot, but I like it. I like it better, actually. You don't have as many flaws as we had before.
You're a father and a grandfather, and I'm sure your kids and grandkids think, oh, he's got the coolest job. What do they say about what you do?
No, they don't.
They don't?
They take it for granted that that's the kind of job people have. They don't think too much about it.
Well, I think it's cool. Bob Richardson, thank you so much for coming, and we thank you for creating all the wonderful things on television and film, and we appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Coming up next on Below the Line on Location, we'll talk to some old friends, including Tim Vogel. We'll find out what he's been up to since he was on Below the Line 2 years ago and find out about his future film projects here in Charlotte. Stay with us.
Talking to your kids about finishing school isn't easy, just necessary. Go to boostup.org for materials that can help.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Over 1 million Americans at risk of foreclosure have been helped by making home affordable. Find out now what your options are.
Home where I belong.
We're back at the 7th annual Film People event here at CPCC on the main campus here in Charlotte. Joining me now is Tim Vogel with Lancer Entertainment, a man who edits, writes, and does it all. How are you, Tim?
I'm great, George, thanks.
Tim was a guest on our show 2 years ago. Tim, catch us up. What have you been doing since you were on Below the Line?
I've edited another feature film. Actually, I did the producer's cut, and we're still working on the broadcast cut. And the film Susie's Hope premiered at the River Run Film Festival recently, and it was a sold-out audience to the point where they added 2 more shows, 2 more screenings. They're looking for a distribution deal on that, and there's a lot of good things happening with that project right now.
So what's coming up next for you later this year?
I'm finishing up doing some post-production work for Shufflin's Barbershop for Hallmark Channel and Mark Jean, and working on developing a feature film called A Friend for Maddie with Karen Abercrombie, Burgess Jenkins, Allie Hillis, and some A-listers I can't quite talk about yet. Some possibly world premiere kind of A-list talent news there, but and then after that we've got another feature film in the works called The Vegetarian Hunter, which is picking up some steam right now and is getting a lot of looks from distribution opportunities.
Tell me about A Friend for Maddie. What's it about?
A Friend for Maddie is about 2 people that go through some really tragic events in their lives. An international jazz singer, she loses her son and husband in a tragic accident. She closes down, she just implodes in herself and becomes homeless. And then there's little 10-year-old Maddie who loses her twin sister in a tragic accident, and she closes down. And through this little guy we can't talk about yet at a homeless kitchen, he runs a homeless kitchen, he brings the 2 together. He's kind of like this guardian angel watching over these 2 and brings them together and helps the healing process. And then the 2 end up healing each other. It's a wonderful, wonderful, heartwarming story. And it also focuses attention on the plight of the homeless.
And of course, if I know you, Tim Vogel, and I do, this will be shot in North Carolina, right?
Absolutely, Mooresville and Charlotte. Yep.
Tim Vogel making movies in North Carolina. And with me now is one of our favorites, John Errington, who we had on the show a few years ago. Welcome back, John.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back.
So what have you been doing since we first had you on the show Below the Line a couple of years ago? You've been busy.
I have been doing a lot, actually. A little bit of cinematography. I DP'd 2 features in the time since we last talked. I directed my first feature just before Christmas. A Long Way Off is the title of that one. I was hired to write a film that the producers are currently raising funding for. It's called Union Bound. It's a period piece. It takes place during the Civil War, based on true events. Very exciting. So yeah, it's been a good couple of years.
A Long Way Off. Tell me about that movie.
A Long Way Off is a modern retelling of the parable of the prodigal son. Our main actor is played by Jason Berkey, who had some success as the lead in independent film October Baby. Came out a couple years ago, and he actually was in one of the films that John Mathis, who was on tonight's panel, was a cinematographer for. Waiting for Butterflies, I think.
So what do you have coming up next? Obviously you haven't been too busy.
No, not too busy at all. Coming up next, well, we're still in post-production on A Long Way Off, so I've still got a few months worth of work ahead of me on that. And otherwise, I'm in talks to possibly direct and DP another couple of features coming up later this year. So we'll see how that goes. I'm putting down some roots here in Charlotte. My production company, JFE Productions, is opening an office here in town in the next couple weeks. So I will be starting to produce some projects through that, in addition to my outside work.
That's right, folks. You heard it here first. John Errington, production company, making movies in Charlotte. John, thank you so much, and keep us posted on all of your busy projects.
Thanks so much, George. I appreciate it.
We're back in a moment. Stay with us.
I understand you need a little help with your mortgage. Want to avoid foreclosure. Candy? Well, you know, you're in luck. We're experts in this sort of thing. Mortgage, rigmarole, whatnot. Why don't we get a contract? Who wants a contract?
Here you go, Pete.
Thanks, Betty.
Write a toner.
If you're facing foreclosure, talk to the right people. Speak with HUD-approved housing counselors free of charge at 888-995-HOPE.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Salad on Saturday, fruit on Friday, throw a ball Thursday. Water Wednesday, touch your toes Tuesday. Let's move Monday, swap us next Sunday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. So keep them active and eating well every day. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
I know, 2 seconds. Hang on, just stand still. Stand still, love. 1 second. I know. Just hang on. Okay, go. No. Boys, hang on, boys.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
I'm home. Over 1 million Americans at risk of foreclosure have been helped by making home affordable. Find out now what your options are.
Home where I belong.
Well, that wraps it up for the 7th annual Digital Film People event here at Central Piedmont Community College. Thanks to all the guests for speaking with us, and thank you for watching. Please contact us with your questions, comments, or show ideas. The email address is belowtheline21@gmail.com, and join our fan page on Facebook. We'll see you next time.
For more information, comments, or questions about the show, email us at belowtheline21@gmail.com.